Good evening. Welcome to this edition of Northeast Diary. Here we bring you the latest developments from India's unexplored Northeast region. In this episode, we will talk about the Kachari Ruins or the Masa Kachari Ruins located at Dimapur in Nagaland. We will also learn how two young entrepreneurs from Assam's Jorhat district are setting an example to other youth by producing indigenous eggs under the brand name of Bahubali eggs. Listeners, the nation is celebrating 75 years of India's freedom struggle as Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. During the celebration, we remember those heroes who made great sacrifices for the independence of India from the colonial British rulers. Manipur state is always remembered in the chapter of India's freedom struggle as the Indian National Army under Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose hoisted the first tricolour flag in the state. Many freedom fighters of Manipur also joined the INA Japanese Army Coalition Force during the Second World War and fought against the British. In today's episode, we bring the story of an unsung hero of the state who fought against the British for the independence of India. Let's hear more from our Imphal correspondent, J.J. Thokcham.
Manipur is a tiny and less populated state in the country, yet the people of the state have an indomitable spirit of freedom. The people of Manipur took a major role during the Second World War when Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose led INA, in collaboration with the Japanese army, advanced to the state and fought with the then colonial British. When Colonel Shaukat Ali Malik of intelligent Bahadur group captured Moirang and hoisted the tricolour flag there as part of INA's Imphal campaign, many Manipuris joined the INA Japanese army group. Their ambition was to help the combined force and make India free from the British. In 1944, when the INA, with the help of Japanese force, made the Moirang strategic camp of INA, 5 youth of the Kom community joined the Japanese force. They belonged to Khorentak village nearby to Moirang, which had only 28 households at that time. Among them is Achung Kom, who is now 106 years old. AIR News Imphal visited his village and talked with the unsung hero about the Imphal campaign. During the campaign, the British captured him and he was put in jail for 6 months. He said that he joined the Japanese force, aiming that the INA and Japanese combined force will defeat the British and India will get its freedom. He said,
The combined forces of the INA and the Japanese army invaded Manipur in the month of April. At that time, I was herding the cattle at Wanthrok village and I met the Japanese force. I started working as a porter and worker for them and went wherever the force went. They did not give guns to me. I was with them till the last battle fought at Limaton Hill and saw British aircrafts bombing us. After that, we, the freedom fighters, went underground to avoid arrest by the British. But I was captured on charge of cooperating with the Japanese in the war and put in jail.
On the occasion of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, the country salutes all those unsung heroes for their sacrifice. This is J.J. Thokcham from Imphal for AIR News, Northeast Diary.
Yoksom in West Sikkim is among the few destinations in Sikkim offering the visitors a bouquet of history, natural beauty, as well as religious and cultural traditions. More from a Sikkim correspondent.
Yoksom, a small town in Gizing subdivision of West Sikkim district, is known for its historical background, natural reserves, trekking trails, old monasteries and biosphere reserve. It was the first capital of Sikkim established in 1642 by the first Chogyal king Phuntsok Nangmel. Yoksom, literally meaning the meeting place of 3 lamas, is where the first Chogyal was crowned in 1642. With a high Buddhist population, Yoksom is home to numerous monasteries. Chogyal Phuntsok Namgyal established Sikkim's first monastery at Yoksom, Dukti Monastery, in 1702, which is part of the Buddhist pilgrimage circuit. Moreover, Yoksom is also the gateway to the Kanchenjunga Biosphere Reserve, the base for several fascinating treks. A resident of Yoksom, Pasang Chiring Bhutia, speaks about the significance of Yoksam.
युग का मतलब है लामा, साम का मतलब है 3, क्योंकि योक्सम में 3 लामा आया था तिब्बत से, और प्रथम लामा का नाम था जवा खातुन चिम्बो, और दूसरे लामा का नाम था ngada सेम्बा चिम्बो, और तीसरे लामा का नाम था कतुरुद्दीन चिम्बो। और उन तीनों लामा ने योक्सम में हमारा पहले राजा चोगेल फिंसो नामग्याल को कोरोनेशन किया है। और योक्सम में सबसे पहले डुब्डी मोनास्ट्री, जैसे प्रथम लामा का वो रहते थे, उस जगह का नाम को ओल्डेस्ट मोनास्ट्री डुब्डी गुम्पा कहते हैं, और दूसरे लामा रहने की जगह को ngada गुम्पा कहते हैं, और वो अभी भी है। और तीसरे लामा का गुम्पा है कातो गुम्पा, और तीसरे लामा के नाम में एक लेक है, लेक कतोक लेक है, वो भी आप देख सकते हैं। और योक्सम से आप ट्रैकिंग भी जा सकते हैं कंचनजंगा के लिए, और योक्सम में इंटरनेशनल टूरिस्ट भी बहुत आते हैं। योक्सम सिक्किम का फर्स्ट कैपिटल है।
Distinct celebration of traditional festivals and the rhododendron and snowline trail of Kanchenjunga National Park and the old monasteries make the hamlet a great draw for the tourists and local residents all year. With Saikat Sarkar, this is Baija Sharma for Northeast Diary from Sikkim.
In Tripura, with the continuous decrease in the number of corona outbreaks, the state government has resumed physical classes of elementary education from class 1 to 5. However, for attending the classes, a written permission letter of the guardian is required. Earlier, the State Education Department had reopened schools for classes from 6th to 12th on 25th August across the state. A report from our Agartala correspondent, Reena.
With the permission of the State Disaster Management Authority, classes from 6th to 12th grades have been started in schools from August 25. Earlier, classes from class 3 to class 12 were started in the school. However, the class 1 and 2 grade students did not get a chance to go to school for 18 long months. The order applies to state government funded and the private and madrasas, including TTAADC. Now, even at the elementary level, teaching is starting in schools. Also, there must be a midday meal arrangement. Mask wear has also been made compulsory for class 1 to 5 grade students. Head teachers have been instructed to arrange sanitizers, thermal scanning and a hand wash in the school. For Northeast Diary, this is Reena Nongmaitem from Agartala.
The celebrations of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav have been held with a variety of programs and events in all states and union territories. Mizoram government is celebrating the Amrit Mahotsav with a calendar of events till the next of August 2022. To get more details, let's go to our correspondent from Aizawl.
In Mizoram, the State Art and Culture Department and Information and Public Relations Department have been organizing several events to celebrate Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav. IPR department organized a week-long exhibition. Talking to AIR News, the director of IMPR department, Mrs. Lalyan Pui, said that
as director of IMPR, I have been taking initiatives to commemorate this Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, like photo exhibition. The exhibition is focused on the freedom fighters like Mahatma Gandhi, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. A good number of photos has been displayed, and we have been inviting the public, especially the school children and the students of various institutions, to visit this photo exhibition. At the same time, we have been organizing a film competition on the Mizo freedom fighter, Mr. Kwang Sera, whom we call in Mizo. He's a warrior, and he's a big name among the Mizos.
this exhibition held at Aizawl Art Gallery evoked huge response from common people, including students. Also, the state government has called for a competition of filmmaking on Mizo warrior Pasal Kwang Sera. Kwang Sera had sacrificed his life fighting against the British to protect his motherland and his people.
For Northeast Diary, this is Irene from Aizawl.
Along with the rest of the nation, the state of Meghalaya acknowledged the tireless efforts of the teaching community on the occasion of Teachers' Day. With the onset of the corona pandemic, teaching and learning methods have drastically evolved, but it has also brought a range of experiences amongst the teachers across the state. More on this from a Shillong correspondent, Rustam.
Teachers had to increase their capacity at a lightning speed to match up with the new setup and adapt with the new ways of teaching. The pandemic made them the better version of themselves. An interaction with a few teachers made it clear that online teaching has its own merits and demerits. Chandan Das, a teacher of Sunrise Academy, Shillong, shares.
I firmly believe every adversity is a challenge. Like this pandemic is an adversity for all of us. And during these difficult times, we could not have continued with our same level of commitment which we had during our regular classes. So this pandemic taught us to be better ourselves. I can speak for all of us that it was a challenge in the sense that we are not that technology savvy.
Some students could not afford smartphones and could not cope up with the new pattern. They witnessed a lot of dropouts. In spite of all the challenges and the technical glitches, they put in their best effort to spread knowledge.
Mainly 80% of the students, they do not have the smartphone. So, though we take the online classes, most of the students are not able to get whatever we have sent. That is the main problem. I have met many of the students and I asked them whether you are still learning whatever we have sent you. But the student says, Madam, I don't have the smartphone, and some of them says that, Madam, I don't get the time. Some of them were working at that time, because you know that the economic problems which the family faced during the pandemic was really something very difficult for them, no?
This is Rustam for Nordizari from AIR News, Shillong.
The Masa Kachari Ruins are located at Dimapur in Nagaland. It is one of the important sites of the megalithic culture. The ruins are a series of mushroom-domed pillars that were created by the Dimasa Kachari kingdoms that ruled before the Ohom invasion during the 13th century. The purpose and origin of the pillars are mysterious. Few of the pillars stand in full glory, while others are crumbling down. It is the glory of the Northeast and the Tourism Department of Nagaland. A report from a Kohima correspondent, Asuno.
The Kachari ruins are scattered widely within the premises located at Dimapur, and the greenery around is all owing to the overgrown tall grasses and weeds. The government has taken a stand to protect the ruins from local vandalism by installing iron railings. One would not witness any mammoth structure, but the stone ruins are only of singular type. Their shapes are similar, tall and stout standing stones. They look very much like lingas but are meticulously sculpted with beautiful design. With an aerial view, one can imagine them to be like chess pieces. The biggest one is a massive monolith standing about 22 feet tall. Although with times these designs have lost their original accuracy, but it still reflects the indigenous Aryan elements. The commonest motifs are those of lotus and flowers, but one can also see animal design like deer, elephant or cow. One of the noticeable motifs is a man raising his arm to the sky as if in celebration, wearing a headdress. One will also see tassel motifs as they appear at the repetitive folds. These ruins are definitely worth a visit and would allure any art and history lover. For Northeast Diary, this is Asanyo from Kohima.
Two young entrepreneurs from Assam's Jorhat district have set an example for other youth to become self-sufficient by producing indigenous eggs. More details of this from a Dibrugarh correspondent, P.K. Nath.
Two young entrepreneurs from Assam's Jorhat district, namely Akashjyoti Gogoi and Ankur Bora, have set an example for other youths to become self-sufficient by producing indigenous eggs and occupied the market with the brand name of Bahubali Eggs. In 2018, both of them started an egg production unit located in Sinamara area of Jorhat, and they have hit the market of Jorhat and other districts of Assam. The egg production unit comprises 15 acres of land and has 5 layer houses. The young entrepreneurs have set the layer farm for producing eggs using modern technology and layer hens. The eggs of the production unit are high in protein and has been named as Bahubali. It has received good response from consumers due to local sentiments and for the brand name. Presently, 45,000 eggs are produced each day, and the unit is targeting the number of 1 lakh by the end of this next year. The eggs are big in size, comprising 2 ordinary eggs available in the market and have high protein. Hence, the production farm is getting good response, and recently the unit started importing the Bahubali eggs to other parts of the state. The farm have nearly 60,000 birds, and the process is being maintained in a scientific manner. The farm is also producing bio-fertilizer from the layer waste by drying them in a different method. The layer farm has generated employment to around 50 local youths. The farm also has a chicken feed producing unit. Jorhat District Deputy Commissioner Ashok Kumar Burman visited the egg production unit. He interacted with the young entrepreneurs and appreciated their enthusiasm and encouragement to increase the work generation while providing opportunities for many unemployed youths to get employment in the farm. Pranab Kumar Nath from Dibrugarh for Northeast Dairy.
Arunachal Pradesh has 26 major tribes and over 100 sub-tribes. Today we bring to you a report about the Thai Khamti tribe, one of the major tribes in the state, from our Itanagar correspondent Rakesh Dole.
Thai Khamti is one of the major tribes of Arunachal Pradesh. The Thai Khamti inhabits the district of Namsai. The word Khamti means a land full of gold. The Thai Khamti has a distinct, rich and unparalleled cultural heritage which has till now remained unexplored in its totality. The community, as a matter of fact, is greatly orthodox and all its socio-cultural activities are religious. The Khamti people are very strong believer of Theravada Buddhism. Every house has a prayer room and the families pray every morning and evening with offerings of flowers and food. The Thai Khamti is the only tribe in the state to be known to have their own script, which the people call it Thai script. They also have varied dwelling systems. The traditional house of the Thai Khamti are built on raised floors with thatched roofs. The roofs are constructed so low that the walls remain concealed. Wooden planks are used for flooring and the walls are made of bamboo splices. The Khamti has a very rich culture, equipped with magnificent art and craft. Armory is a part of life, representing the aura of the skill as warriors. Their weapons include poisoned bamboo spikes called panjis, bow and arrows, spears, swords and shields. The Khamtis also have firearms resembling ancient flint muskets and horse pistols. The tribe has a preference for conventional attires enriched by brilliant craft works which commands a huge market in the entire Indian market. The beautifully crafted sword, also known as Phanap, is very popular around the state. The Khamti crafts in bamboo, wood, bone and ivory are also spectacular. They are expert in making traditional weapons. The Thai Khamti people are settled agriculturists. They use the plough drawn by a single animal, either an oxen or a buffalo or even an elephant in the olden days. They practice both jhum and settled agriculture and produce food grains, vegetables and cash crops. Among food grains, coarse variety of rice, maize, millet and cotton are important products of jhum cultivations. By and large, the Khamti culture is deeply rooted in the historical and religious tradition of Thai people and has a profound influence on the way of the royal society. This society is divided into classes, each signifying a distinct status in the social hierarchy. The chief occupies the highest positions, followed by the priest, who wield considerable influence over all ranks. For Northeast Diary, this is Rakesh Dole, AR News, Itanagar.
In our Personality of the Week section, today we bring to you an interview with Roshni Aparanji Korati, Director, Samagra Shiksha Assam and Secretary Elementary Education, who has been interviewed by Manas Pratim Sharma.
Madam Korati, welcome to this episode of Northeast Daily. What is the idea behind appointing boxer won medal in Tokyo, Lavlina Borgohain, as the brand ambassador of Samagra Shiksha Assam?
Lavlina Borgohain is the first Olympian to get a bronze medal from Assam. And since Samagra Shiksha Assam is about the holistic development of children, so we are into education, we implement the Samagra Shiksha Abhiyan in Assam, and so we wanted a brand ambassador who can resonate with the children, with the teachers and with all the stakeholders in the education process. So since she is really a role model for not only for the youth, for everybody, so that is why we had wanted Lavlina Borgohain as our brand ambassador, and we approached her and she very readily accepted, and that too on an honorary basis, for which we are very grateful.
How far the virtual learning process has been effective for lower primary level in Assam?
Right from the day that the COVID thing started, there has always been this thing is not only about education, we are always thinking about the alternatives to the present situation. Necessity is the mother of invention. Lot of inventions had taken place from last year. In this field of education, the need is more immediate because children have stopped going to school. Obviously, schools have been closed, but the learning process cannot be stopped. Not only because across the world, there have been ways and means of trying to reach out to children to lessen the learning gap. So with respect to your question as to in the lower primary section, definitely it is a challenge in a way for Samagra Shiksha or for any government setup. But looking into the online aspect of teaching for lower primary children, it is very engaging for the young minds. Screen is very attractive to the young minds. So that way learning has been going on, but because of the digital divide, especially in government schools where most of the parents are either do not have access to smartphones or they do not know how to operate smartphones, so it has been a challenge. With the help of our teachers and with other stakeholders in the community, for example SMC members, we have school management committees in all these government schools. We have formed more than 25,000 WhatsApp groups so that the content is passed on to the children. So since not every child has a smartphone at home, so volunteers and teachers have set up like small groups maintaining all COVID appropriate behavior, maybe in the veranda of house, maybe in a playground, maybe somewhere else outside, where there is open space and children can be placed apart and the classes can go on.
It has been very effective.
As only online cannot be effective. Yes, it has the power to engage, but only online can never be the way forward is what I feel. Henceforth, since before COVID it was only offline, after COVID it was only online, so the way forward might be a hybrid of both.
And what is the status of implementation of new education policy in Assam?
Yes, the national education policy, the government of Assam is very keen on implementing the national education policy. A tracker has been developed. So we have 298 tasks to be completed. The government of Assam is following up. Samagra Shiksha Assam has a very important role to play in the implementation of NEP. And so the government of Assam has planned it in a phased manner. Say for example, teacher training is a very important component. The foundational literacy and numeracy is a very important component. And there are a lot of major policy decisions which need to be taken. And government has notified a lot of notifications on NEP for implementation of NEP. So we are on the job, and of course there is a restructuring in the 5+3+3+4 design which the NEP says we should be doing it, so that it cannot be done immediately for obvious reasons. So the government is going in a phased manner, and the government is committed to implementing the NEP.
What is your planning to introduce professional courses in starting from school level?
Professional means vocational courses. Already we are implementing vocational trades. We have 9 trades starting from class 9 to 12. So in 495 schools in Assam, the vocational trade is being implemented, and from this year onwards, another 213 schools will be added for vocational education. So we have different rates. IT, ITES, so that is from the retail sector, then agriculture, which includes veterinary. Like that we have a lot of trades. After they complete this, they have to go for a job in which they are trained. Because it's not that after class 12 they immediately go for a job, but we should also give them equal opportunity for pursuing the same vocational trade which they have taken in school in a higher educational institutions.
But you're planning to make the learning process more interesting.
Because of COVID, we could develop a lot of audio-visual content. We provide infrastructure in schools, we provide everything, but a teacher is the heart of a school, a heart of a subject. So teacher training, teacher education is very important. From now onwards, we can go with a hybrid of offline and online training. And the Government of India and the Government of Assam are very keen on developing the ICT part of schools. Smart classrooms, virtual labs. So though we need to look at the basic infrastructure of schools is improving. Along with that, this digital initiatives are also going forward. So a mix of offline and online teaching would be very helpful for the children, because children are not like how we are as children. Nowadays they have evolved a lot. It happens with generation to generation. So we will have to match up with them. And of course, reading as a habit has come down drastically because of all the digital gadgets. It's impossible to find a person without a phone in his or her hand. So that is why we are committed to develop the reading habit again rejuvenate it. So we are going for a process of starting digital libraries. In primary schools, we have reading corners. In secondary schools, there's plans to set up library in each and every school. Similarly, digital libraries. That way, the reading habit will also increase because reading obviously has a lot of benefits.
Finally, one of the success story of your department is Gunotsav.
Honorable Chief Minister has given a direction that Gunotsav has to be celebrated in February 2022. It requires 4-5 months of preparation. So last Gunotsav was up till high school. This year we might be going up to higher secondary also. Gunotsav has been very successful. On the field, of course, on those days when Gunotsav was celebrated, it was really like a festival in the school because all the stakeholders of the school were involved. At the back end, we could identify a lot of gaps, infrastructure-wise and learning-wise. So our plan from last Gunotsav onwards has been to fill up the gaps. Of course, not in all schools, but that is also in a phased manner. And for learning gap also, along with SCRT, curriculum has been developed to bridge. We need bridge material. Earlier, the learning gaps were before COVID, but after COVID, learning gaps will definitely increase. So we are hoping that we might be able to lessen the learning gap by Gunotsav, but Gunotsav is very important because it will give us the right picture of the learning gap caused by COVID.
Madam, you gave us time, valuable input. Thank you again.
Thank you, Manager.
And now let us endeavor to know more about the special places that are nestled in the cozy corners of India's northeast. Today we are heading to the Assamese city named Kareem Ganj. Our correspondent tells us more.
Kareem Ganj is a city in the Kareem Ganj district of the Indian state of Assam. It is the administrative headquarters of the district. Located by the river of Kushiara, Kareem Ganj is one of the beautiful old cities of the Barak Valley. The river Kushiara and Langai were connected through the Notikhal Canal flowing through the city of Kareem Ganj. Absence of proper maintenance of the canal has caused much decay in its beauty, yet Kareem Ganj remains as a city of lakes. The city is famous as an international border with Bangladesh. Jaki Ganj Upazila, a sub-district of Bangladesh, is located on the other side of river Kushiara. Once upon a time, Kareem Ganj and Jaki Ganj both were part of the undivided district of Sylhet, which was again annexed to Assam during 1874 to 1947, except for a few years of the first decade of last century when Assam was a part of the British province of East Bengal and Assam after the 1905 partition of Bengal. In 1947, Sylhet was divided between India and Pakistan and Kareem Ganj became part of Kachar, while the other side of river Kushiara, including Jaki Ganj, became part of East Pakistan. Later, East Pakistan became Bangladesh in 1971 and Kareem Ganj started flourishing for its international trade. In 1983, Kareem Ganj city was declared a district headquarters of the newly formed district of Kareem Ganj at that time. You can just take a small dinghy boat or a bigger one as you wish to cross the river of Kushiara for reaching Jaki Ganj after finishing the formalities of passport and visa checking at the Kareem Ganj border checkpost, located by the riverside protected by the border security port. Sylhet is only 45 minutes far from Jaki Ganj by a shared taxi. There is another international border at Sutarkandi located only 14 kilometers from the Kareem Ganj city. Surrounded by the rivers of Kushiara and Langai, Kareem Ganj is famous for fishes, particularly hilsa. Also the famous Dhakai Jamdani saris are available in Kareem Ganj, which attracts lots of tourists to the place. Kareem Ganj is also famous for the 1857 Sepoy mutiny at the battlegrounds of Malegarh Latu, where 26 brave Indians were martyred fighting the British colonizers of the East India Company. The old steamer Ghata road by the side of the river Kushiara provides an amazing experience for a walk-through by any visitor. This is Sarabjit Kaur with Shashwati Bhattacharjee from Silchar, Assam.
With that, we come to the end of this edition of Northeast Diary. Do join us next week to hear more stories from this enchanting part of India. Bye-bye.